Hi, I'm Brittany Jackley. I have just transitioned into a new role as a project manager slash scrum master. Before that, my experience was in the educational sector. I worked as a teacher and as an assistant principal. So I've been doing my new gig now for about the past month, and it's been going awesome. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about SkillGigs. So I was doing a lot of applying online. I was doing it through all the typical sites, that are out there, just tons of them, probably 5 to 6 at least. So I was going through LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, like just all of them, setting up alerts for jobs that would come up. My inbox, it was overwhelming to try and stay on top of which ones I had applied to through LinkedIn versus Indeed, and making sure I wasn't double applying. And the process takes a long time for each and every application. And that's a lot when you already have a full-time job on top of it. So, it was a pretty exhausting experience. I went through that for months, and then I started to think about the idea of a reverse recruiter that would actually go out and look for jobs for me. I talked to a couple people. That option was going to be rather costly. In the process of searching for someone online, I came across SkillGigs. One thing that caught my eye when I was reading up on it was that SkillGigs doesn't get their cut from the applicant. It comes from the company side, so it would be of no cost to me. And it still works in the same way, kind of as a reverse recruiter, in the sense that I'm only having to put my information out there once. And then the company's recruiters are coming and looking at my resume to see if I'm a good fit. So one of the things I enjoyed was I could see when somebody viewed my resume, it would give me an alert, which was really cool. And then also I could see when people were bidding, and these were big name companies. These weren't, small little startups, or, these were big name companies. I could see when they were bidding, like a quote that they would pay should they decide to hire me, and then we could move to the application process. And so it helped my confidence, honestly. After you apply for so many jobs in the normal old-fashioned way, and you either don't get callbacks or it's just a phone screening of someone who doesn't really understand what it is you'd be doing, um, that can really get you down. But with SkillGigs, all you get are the positives. So you only know when people are looking at your resume, when they're interested in you by creating a bid. You can schedule your interviews straight through SkillGigs and talk to not just the recruiters, but the actual person you're going to be working with. So that was a really nice experience. Plus, I'm not having to go through the same old monotonous forms that you would have to in the traditional sense. So you have to fill out a 5-page form. That's all the information that's already on your resume. And you have to answer all of the legal questions all over again. And you have to create an individualized cover letter and do research on the company. And all of those things is so time consuming. But with SkillGigs, it had a really cool platform that's very user friendly. I liked the design of it. It was fun to play with, and I create my 3D resume just one time. So I don't have to keep recreating the wheel over and over. In fact, I could go back in and sometimes just edit or tweak my resume because it was kind of fun to play with. So I really like the user interface. The hardest part was just getting someone to let me get my foot in the door. I knew all my skills would transition well, but to break into the tech industry after being in education, a lot of times they just want to see how much experience you've had under the exact same job title. Well, I haven't had experience under the exact same job title, but my skills might be more fitting actually than some people that have. So my background was in graphic design. I was a visual arts educator for a long time. I started doing some really cool cutting edge curriculum through art and media communications and working with Texas Cultural Trust. And I got to write curriculum for the state. And in doing so, I got to go to some externships at IBM and follow around people who are doing the real life, new cutting edge job roles. So user experience designers, especially. I get to see what the design thinking process is like and how they work with people from other companies. And so as I'm going back and teaching my students about these things, in the back of my head, I'm like, man, that would be a fun transition. Well, then I moved into being an assistant principal, and I really get that managerial experience of learning how to manage programs, processes, systems, people. And so I think all of those skills kind of culminated, and I got my Scrum Master certification. So don't think of it like a big long master's program or anything. There's lots of different certifications out there that you could take a weekend course and then just take the exam online, and you can get a certification and start applying. So that's exactly what I did. Now, getting someone to see that I had all the skills necessary, regardless that I'd never had that job title, was a big challenge in this transition. But SkillGigs helped me get through that. The biggest excitement I got coming into this new role was definitely just the people that I'm getting to meet and work with. I actually interviewed with my boss. Like, she's my direct person that I report to and that I work with the most on a daily basis. And she's amazing. And so I already knew right off the bat that, I'd have a good rapport with who my direct supervisor would be. But aside from that, you know, people know that I'm new to this role, and there's so much willingness for grace and so much willingness to help, not only from the supervisory level, but people doing the same job as me, and even people that, I oversee and manage projects for. They're all willing to help me through the process and give me tips and, oh, hey, you should meet this person. They're a really great resource. Or, hey, have you tried this? And, so everyone has just been very collaborative, and that's exciting to me. So to be able to just meet all these new people, have this new experience, and just jump in and give it a shot. So my biggest advice would be don't give up. So I have friends that have tried to break into user experience world, Scrum Master world. It took them months of interviewing as well. So let the rejection just wash over you. Don't give up. Any interview you have and you don't get the job, it was great practice. Keep putting yourself out there. But if you don't have time to go the traditional route, SkillGigs is going to be your best friend, because you can put all your information out there and these big name companies will come to you. So that's really cool. So that's my advice. Use SkillGigs and don't give up.